Autumn. As temperatures plummet, the tanks exhaust miles of fog into the surrounding region. Hot tubs are used to keep the divers from freezing. Soon, it's too cold to hold pre-dive briefings anywhere else.
You're right. Come down from the platform, on gear, come over. That way you can see the run, we can rehearse the shot on scuba. Then you go up in there, we'll have a hookah waiting for you. We'll put Harry up in there on safety, up in the cylinder. How's that sound?
The shot was about a continuous swim underwater with no air, and it was kind of cold, so it's a little harder to relax. And Leo was freaking out a little bit up in the tank, and they called action. And I said, no, man, we ain't going that, because Leo can't even catch a breath. So I dropped down and said, hey, cut, let's just calm down a little bit. So we dropped down and we start swimming, and we get to the end, and you're out of breath, you give a signal. And you're waiting for your diver to come with your air, but he can't be in the shot, so he's got to be a certain distance out of the shot. And so he's not going to be there the second you go like this, but it seemed like an eternity. But, they swam down and gave us everything. It certainly expanded our ideas of what we could do, some of us.
The film is very much about that kind of human bonding and human interrelationships under pressure, to take a group of people who are basically just trying to earn a living and put them in an environment where all of the elements conspire against them.
Man against man, man against nature, man against himself. The three different types of dramatic conflict that any good narrative storytelling has. Unfortunately, in addition to seeing it in the film, we were seeing it on the set and in the dressing rooms, because people never were able to escape the abyss.
Stay on the sub, please. Chris, you're supposed to stay on the sub. You're supposed to stay on the sub. How much air you got? Oh, you'll live.
Jim is Jim, and the people that work with him, continuously, I think, understand him.
Jim?
Yeah.
My light just went dead.
George, it's a rehearsal. Shut up.
It was almost like being in Catholic school, kind of.
Jim, you want me to turn to my right?
Adam, give me a break, okay?
There's pressures that I can't even imagine, too, that I'm sure he had to put up with on a daily basis. I mean, I don't have a studio sitting over my head. I don't have, the budget going up.
Somebody's sitting right on one of the MIRVs. Get off the back of the submarine. This is a shot. Jesus Christ.
Jim was in the water 12 hours a day, every day. We were in the water 10 hours a day, max, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. So you got to respect that. So when you got that kind of leadership, you either come up to it or you get the hell out of there. One or the other, and not one of us was willing to back down.
We had a kind of a bond during the production that consisted of me challenging them, and there were times when I'm sure they hated my guts, but they hated the fact that I'd created this situation and seduced them into being there, and I was the architect of this misery.
My relationship with Jim, I think, is a good one, but I don't think he trusts that I don't still feel that way, partly, to him, And I think it'll just be time, because I think maybe part of me still does.
The one thing that he had that nobody else had to put up with was the deep suit, which was the fluid breathing. So there was a whole set of demands on him that nobody else had to deal with.
The fluid breathing suit. Are you actually breathing under the liquid? No, you just pretend. Oh, right. No.
Moment of truth.
They would say, okay, Ed, today we're gonna take this thing and put it on your head. You can't breathe. And we're gonna fill it up with pink water, and you're gonna pretend to be amazed at watching Bud Brigman, your commander, breathe in the fluid breathing.
What?
It'll pass in a second. It's perfectly normal.
I mean, what's the challenge? There's Ed, our friend, walking into the edge of moon pool and jumping in. It was extraordinary. I mean, there was the line between movie and reality that didn't exist.
I tried that. I also asked myself, what was I thinking about? I'm trying all this stuff, because it's a challenge, man.
First of all, in order for him to be able to see inside a fluid-filled helmet, he had to wear contact lenses that were specially made for him in Italy, and they allowed his eyes to focus underwater.
because I was constantly exposed to the water, and there was a high amount of chlorine or bromine, whatever they were using. And it wouldn't take more than 5 minutes down there before my eyes would start stinging, and I would try to stay down there as long as possible, because the more we could shoot, you know, the more we could get done, the less time I'd have to be down there.
We had the helmet rigged so that the faceplate would flip up, even though it's not supposed to do that on the real helmet, so that he could get access to a regulator very quickly. And, you know, we did a lot of safety drilling and a lot of rehearsals in shallow water, and Ed was really comfortable. At no point was he really afraid for his safety, other than the fact that we really had to be very rigorous in the way we did everything. We have a character who's supposed to be free-falling through the water down the wall of an abyssal trench or an abyssal trough. And he's going about 3 or 4 knots, just falling straight down. Now, in practical diving terms, you can't equalize rapidly enough to fall that fast without having your hand on your nose and making a lot of funny faces. So, since we don't want our close-ups to look that way with our leading man, what we're going to try to do is simulate falling by towing sideways and turning the camera on its side. So we're towing sideways across a rock wall for a medium close-up of Ed Harris descending into the abyss.
Holding your breath, you can't see, you can't move, you're 45 feet underwater, you don't have any air supply of your own, they're going to drag you 200 feet across the bottom of this tank while you're acting.
The elaborate tow rig is first successfully tested with one of Ed's stunt doubles, Charlie Arneson.
Ed probably weighs close to you, right? Yeah, right. So it should track just the same. We got the setup working.
We were doing that, and in between the rehearsal and the first take or second take, from what I remember, they strung a cable down, and Terry, my safety diver, got hung up on that cable, and about 40 feet into this thing across the thing, I realized this isn't happening, man, because I can't hold my breath any longer. I'm so excited anyway. There's water rushing up in my nostrils. I did this sign, out of air, unhook myself, get over to the wall. I got no air. I'm waiting for air, and this guy's hung up somewhere. I got nobody to give me air. And I was hanging there, out of breath, no air, and I'm going, oh, this is great. You know? And then one of the guys swims over, another guy, and he gives me his regulator. I'm just about to burst, to take in a lung full of water, and he gives me his regulator, and he gives it to me upside down. So I get like half air and half water. Went like that. I got a lot of water in my lungs, you know. And I said, well, this is something wrong here, you know. And then I kind of thought, maybe I didn't purge the regulator, blew out what air I'd gotten in, took another big breath, got water back in my lungs. And for a split second, I really thought I was a goner, and then Al came swimming over, the cameraman, ripped the fucking thing out of whoever the guy was and put his regulator in the right way. Took a big breath and I went, man, okay, let's go up for a second. But I remember driving home that night, and I just broke down, man. I was just weeping, because there was a part of me that was really disappointed in myself for not being able to do this thing. And there was also a part of me that was like, I just didn't know what to do. I was just, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I was in the middle of something that and I really thought I was gonna die for a second, and it also pissed me off that I was afraid of that I got scared of that for a second. It was a all total mixture of so many things, you know. And though it never got that dangerous again, I always had to be in that suit until the last day of shooting. I would, not every day, but there was always, I always knew I was going to have to go back down in this fucking fluid breathing suit.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You tell me when you're getting uncomfortable.
Okay.
All right.
Get the shot over.
Ed is probably the ultimate trooper in the world, and if he wasn't before the abyss, he certainly is afterwards. It was a big challenge, and Ed just did it day after day. He just stepped up to the plate and did it. It was really something to watch.